Alrighty then. Hello everybody. Welcome. Just managed to get in game. Hope we're all feeling good. It's Saturday. That means we are at the best time of the week. And why is that? Because it's the first few seconds of a whole weekend of streaming. Oh yeah. Just excuse me while I high-five myself here. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. It's good to see chat already going. Rachi said, I just finished watching Prophecies today. Oh, dude, that's cool. Tell me what you thought. Costage said, I hope you enjoyed the experience. You said, I did. I never played the original game, so it's nice to see the full story. Dude, I wish you'd been leaving comments as you went through. I wish you'd just been dropping comments as you just marathoned your way through it, honestly. I love it when people do that. It's weird to think that people do watch it, but they do it largely in silence. Speaking of which, I can't find it anymore because it'll be buried under a ton of other new ones. But I had someone, I don't know who it is, maybe there's someone that might watch this stream. They were watching a random old Factions episode. And I've talked about this in the past. When I started YouTube, I don't know, I used to swear a lot more. I used to be a lot more crass. I didn't really care too much. I don't know. And there was never one moment where I sat up and I said, I'm not going to use the F word on videos anymore. I never, ever had that moment. The closest I ever came to that moment was when I used to collab with Matt, who didn't like swearing. And so I would make a conscious effort there, but never on my channel have I ever thought stuff like that. Anyway, someone linked this week to a random moment in Factions, and they linked to a timestamp, and they burst out laughing. They said, oh, this made me laugh so hard, what the hell? And I clicked it. And it's me, like 6 years ago, in a video, and I like basically do the audio commentary equivalent of swaggering up in one of these cutscenes in this game we will see in this stream series. And there's some like Kurzik about to get attacked, spoilers, and she's like, oh, and in my commentary, my public commentary that I put on the internet, that I never had anyone question or doubt or anything, my commentary is this, yeah, she's about to get fucked, and then she like nods in the footage, and I say in the commentary, I'll take that as a yes. And then I just get on with my life. I don't laugh, I don't do anything, and I watch that like mouth agape, like what is this? Jesus Christ, like what is the quality of these series? It's ridiculous. So yeah, so whoever that was that left that comment this year, you made me laugh at me, and I'm not sure how narcissistic that is, but there you go. Yeah, it's a moment on Factions. If you want to watch it, you can go knock yourself out. It's somewhere, I don't want to spoil where it is because we're actually on a series to do with Factions right now, but I'll tell you, when this series gets to it, we'll watch that cutscene and we will show it off with all happiness. It'll be brilliant. Smitsky says, take me with you today, please. Yeah, dude, I will try. I promise I'll try. Let's change our face cam. Now, just before we get in and I do the intro, for you diehards, the guys that get here really early, you guys are awesome. I was really thinking about that the other day, by the way. We really have I don't do anything for it, but I really feel like we've cultivated a bit of community at the moment. There's really a lot of names that recurrently come up, and you guys, like, I don't know, it means a lot. I've never really felt it as strongly as I do recently. I'm not getting all lovey-dovey and weird here, but I've never, you know, I really would feel very bad if I missed a stream, because I genuinely feel like there's a selection about you out there. It's only a fraction of a fraction, but there's a selection of you out there that is like, oh, I'd really let those guys down if I didn't do this stream. You know, not that that's come across my mind or anything recently, but yeah, it's kind of cool. It really is, and it seems to be getting stronger too. I don't know whether that's a bad sign. We're creating kind of a scary little echo chamber, or we don't get much new traffic through anymore. I don't know, but it's cool, guys. It is very cool. Anyway, to you guys, some stuff about emotes. Now, I haven't hooked any of this up, but Darg, who is one of the more proactive people I've ever encountered on the internet, at least over the past couple of months, which is a serious compliment for what it's worth. Darg has sent me all kinds of different projects and interesting things recently. Sent me a Google Drive document as feedback on Twitch emotes, and I want to read it to you guys, and we'll see how we feel about it. And it's really good. It's very rare I really appreciate feedback as much as I do here, because as you guys know, I don't think very deeply about Twitch at all. I don't really spend any time setting it up. It's not my main jam, and so the emotes are mostly, you know, hold on, hopefully you can still hear me. You're going to hear some weird clicking and stuff as I take a few screenshots here. You know, mostly the emotes and stuff are because I had Welk who did all this amazing stuff, but, you know, I never made major requests or anything. I don't really know how a lot of it works. So I don't have any strong attachments or consideration behind the emotes here. So, you know, it's one of those rare things where someone can give me a bunch of unrequited feedback. I wasn't looking for this feedback, but I'm not going to be a grumpy miser about it because, yeah, I have no strong feelings one way or the other. And I found myself very much agreeing with what Doug says here. So I'm going to read this out to you guys. And if the general consensus is, yeah, this makes sense, we could have a big update on our emotes on Twitch. I know that might sound weird, but let's give it a shot, okay? And it's some hefty text, but you're watching Wood and Potatoes, all right? You can handle it. You'll be okay. All right, so here we go. You can follow along on screen if you like. Let me unlock this so I can actually move it. There we go. I'll make it a little bit bigger. This is page 1 of 3. Hey, WP. So, as always, I'm overthinking things. I did say I wanted to send this out to the internet, so hopefully he's all right with that. Maybe I should check. This is kind of embarrassing. Do you not want this? All right, let's go to... Hold on. If he says it's kind of embarrassing, let's go... I don't want to do that. Let's go to the bottom page, which basically has... Oh, no, that's not the bottom page. Which one's the bottom page? This one here. Basically, it's a well-thought-out description of what we can do with the emotes. But look at this. My final emote list looks like this. We could do Tato Gaze, Angradoran's Gaze, Tato Panic, which would be... Basically, he's thought very, very carefully and clearly about, like, what emotes get used at what times. And if we did this, we could open up a lot of slots for some new fun stuff. I caught as well, I think has a message for me on Discord. I'm not doing very good with it at the moment. Might have a kappa for us. Yeah, we could show all 3. Honestly, it's nothing to be embarrassed about, but I won't draw massive attention to it to read it all out verbatim. But if you guys, basically, if you like the look of what you can see on screen right now, let me know, and we can maybe go with it. And that would be the final list there, with some slight tweaks on my end. Oh, the Wayfarer Reverie starts and Guild Wars 1 does it. That's awesome, man. I'm loving bananas at the moment, so I'm eating a banana right now. Sorry. The frequencies... Wait. This is the closest I'll get to having a WP audiobook of something I've written, so by all means read it. All right, there you go. They're happy with us reading it. Okay, Doug. Sorry. I think I asked you on Discord, but I haven't gone back to see your response, which is pretty bad. Okay, so here's what you said. I feel there's a bunch for emotes. I feel there's a bunch that are underused, overlap, or just uninteresting to use. So I was thinking about how I could streamline them so people on streams know what they mean and how to use them. Firstly, I really like the idea of using the Guild Wars 1 icons as reaction images. They're very emotive in general, hilarious when used with good timing. So I tend to favor them over the potato emotes, despite the latter having greater thematic attachment to your brand and containing greater artistry. It's about the brand as well. I mean, they are just potatoes, really. It is a part of the brand, and I like what Welk built, but it's not like, you know, the be-all and end-all. To get right to it, Tato no. So as I read it out, guys, as we read this out, type him in chat, okay? All right? Can I ask you to do that? Type him in chat, and you guys can see, and people on Wood and Potatoes 2 can even see as well as it comes up on the thing. So, to get starting off with Tato no. That aggressively overlaps with Tato Mad and Tato WTF as reactions indicating discontent. I would delete the latter 2 and rename Primal Echoes to Tato Rage to pair with Twitch's own emote Swift Rage, which similarly shows a man yelling, presumably in anger. Okay? And if you guys, as you read this, disagree with a single little paragraph, type it out. Similarly, Tato Sad and Scourge Enchantment convey the same emotion in 2 styles. And, as I've said, I greatly prefer the use of the Guild Wars 1 art, so I delete Tato Sad too. And I agree with this. I think I do like the Guild Wars 1 skill art to an extent. Facepalm, which is Wastrel's Worry, and Not Like This, which is Panic, are 2 indefinite to use as interesting reactions. Wastrel's Worry, or Wastrel's Worry, whatever, guys, specifically does not represent a facepalm at all. And it looks like someone worrying. It applies better to the phrase Not Like This than Panic does, which is why I'd rename Wastrel's Worry to Not Like This. I'd rename Panic to Tato Panic, which also instructs viewers when to use it, as shit hits the fan. Okay? Let me chew just for a second. In the words of John Oliver, I don't care about all this, I have a banana. Ancestor's visage makes for a fantastic Tato's feel good. But I'd zoom into the face a bit more to better show off the old man's contentedness, just like I did with Tato Somber. If capitalization could be changed, I'd also change it to Tato feels good and return Scourge Enchantment to Tato feels bad. The only reason Scourge Enchantment stopped being Tato's feel bad is because it wouldn't let me put it back because I think it needed to update on Twitch's end. So I just went Somber just to get through it. Just for ease of use, it seems Twitch uses camel case for its emotes, so standardizing would be convenient. I'd also prefer if we had the full Scourge Enchantment art with its bizarre bendy neck, but that's a personal preference. And I like that we get to better see his miserable face when it's zoomed in anyway. Yeah, I prefer the zoomed in ones. The bendy neck is funny, but you can't have both, I guess. Angadoran's gaze and contemplation of purity are interesting. It's funny when people use them. I do laugh when it's well, not laugh. Internally, I breathe out a little bit heavier with Angadoran's gaze. I do really like that. One of you in particular is a big fan of Angadoran's gaze. Anyway, and contemplation of purity, interesting. It's funny when people use them, but most people don't really know when or how or if they should use them. One's an orc thing staring into your soul, and the other is a Technicolor baby staring into your soul. And that's what I like about it. They're just like weird, surreal, just odd, right? Not that I've thought hard about it, and that's kind of the point. But next. That being said, I think Angadoran's gaze does have a lot of potential because of the face's deadpan expression, glowing eyes. It's kind of hilarious, grotesque use of the cool shove effect. I'd rename AG to Tato Gaze, so when people use it, it is a bit more open to interpretation. Calling it Tato makes it too situational and limiting. The idea of it being originally was because I had no idea what anyone would use it for, so I just wrote like literally. That's go for it. You guys can do what you want with that. On the other hand, it's weird and fun as it is. I'd delete Tato Baby because there's no real place or time to use it comfortably. I don't know, man. That's one I disagree with. Contemplation of Purity is weird. It's weird enough that I kind of want to keep it. I don't know. What do you guys feel? Should we delete the baby? It is a very, very, very strange emote. But that's why, you know, I'll get random World of Warcraft fans subbing just so they can spam that baby around on chat, you know, other places. It reminds you of Success Kid. Well, I mean, it's true. People don't really use the baby. On top of deleting Tato Mad, Sad, Baby, and WTF, I'd also delete Tato Love, Tato ZZ, Tato Deal, and sadly Tato Horse. Now listen, the horse isn't going anywhere. People like the horse. I know it doesn't really look like the other emotes in the set at all, but people like the horse. That's your most controversial thing, Doug. The horse. We'll see what people say. Tato has some applications in that there aren't many thinking emotes on Twitch to begin with. What one was again? I can't remember. Have I gone to the website that shows the analytics of my emotes? No, man. I didn't even know that existed. I've not... Honestly, the amount of time I've spent thinking about it has probably dectupled on this stream. Seriously. That's crazy. I didn't know that was a thing. Anyway, Tato Nerd... Where were we? Yeah, has some applications. Thinking... Tato Nerd has a lot of applications in the sense that a lot of times you use your nerd voice, which also replaces Tato Horse in a way. Tato High is maybe the most popular. I would rename it to Tato Wave because that's what people use it for, but that's the technicality. Tato Salt, Wrecked, and Hype contain text, making them great based on the context. Hype, for example, is explosively spammed when we catch legitimately hype moments live, and I wouldn't want to take that away from chat. Last little bit here now, guys. Final page. See, it's not embarrassing. Some pride in what you've thought of here. Where is it? Here you go. As for Tato Turtle, only time will tell if it will be popular. I like it though, mainly because it's a smiling, happy emote that ties into your potato-ness and has history with the channel, and that's really cool. That opens up, and now this might sting, but listen, that opens up 8 spots for emotes. That doesn't include like the 4 that I've got for higher tier people, by the way. At least 1, which will be a Kappa, Not that I want or need them all filled up, because I do think oversaturating them makes people less likely to enjoy or use them. This also provides the opportunity to bring some back, but to be honest, the current set of emotes is more than sufficient, and the overly niche ones like rant, coffee, lore would be used far too infrequently to permit being included. So my final emote list looks like this: gaze, panic, rage, feels good, feels bad, not like this, wave, salt, wrecked, hype, nerd, and turtle. There you go. That would be the proposal. And yeah, I read through that and I thought, you know what? I pretty much agree with nearly all of it. I wouldn't get rid of the horse. I think the horse people use. A lot of people have asked for the coffee one back, but it is a bit weird. Oh my god, look. Nike's linked it to us. Nike, you god. Oh, look at this. So yeah, I've only ever hooked up for the $4.99 tier as well. So, hold on. But what? How do I display stats? Holy crap, we had a ton of emotes one day. Why? Saturday, May 5th, they went mental. Oh, was that Mists? That could have been Mists when that happened. Maybe. Oh god, wait. So, how can I just tell in general who's the top dog? They don't really get used much, to be honest. Emote usage per day. Well, anyway, there you go, guys. That was something that happened. That was only supposed to be about a 2-second chat right at the start of the stream. But, yeah. Hey, what was the name of the first song played in the latest New World video? Dude, I'm glad you asked that. Nobody commented on the audio balance, which I was actually a bit worried about. It's from the Layers of Fear soundtrack. Because New Worlds, if it's ever going to be a good game, the theme of it in the set is all about haunting and ghosts and undead and that kind of stuff. It's a creepy kind of place. So I looked at some horror soundtracks I really enjoy, and the Layers of Fear OST is amazing. Just by the way, if no one's ever listened to it, maybe put it on during the intro to... Actually, I could put it on during... Well, listen to some Layers of Fear OST on the intro here. It's a really, really creepy, gorgeous piece that it opens with. That's what I opened mine with. Then I went to the Dust Force thing. Yeah, if people don't notice it, it's probably right. Alright, I'm literally going to go get some coffee, guys. And then I'm going to come back. And we're going to actually play the game. We're going to change the build, maybe. Or we might do one more mission on it. And then, yeah, we'll just sort of progress through. That's it. I'll see you all in a second. Let's do it. Alright, the music was probably really crap there, wasn't it? Because it just started auto-playing ambient horror stuff. There's some nice tracks on there, though. Genuinely moving, nice tracks. Probably the main theme's over really quick, and then the rest, it starts... there's some, like, weird old-timey music on there as well, actually. But yeah, anyway. That first song, that's what I opened the New World video with, before going there in a bit more upbeat afterwards. It's been a weird video, that, as well. Very, very strange... strange experience covering that game a little bit. Let me turn Guild Wars down just a bit here, because it's just such a different format of experience, and it could be terrible. It's interesting seeing what your average Guild Wars 2 user thinks when they respond to it. You know, the initial announcement that it was going to be a thing and that Amazon was moving into gaming and stuff, there was a lot of excitement there, really, a lot. Now 2 years later, very little is manifested. You know, I thought that we were on the edge, on the precipice of like a big information bomb about the game, but literally not a drop, not an inch of extra information about the game has actually appeared since Gamescom's been going on. Nothing. Which is really, really weird to me. I don't really know what they were doing, because it's just such a strange article to have released. And I do think, in general, because of what happened with Breakaway, a lot of confidence has been knocked for that. Crucible will be the bigger one to keep your eyes on now, obviously, because that's the ArenaNet project, and everyone hopefully is in the same pan as that. But yeah, I mean, if it's actually exciting, if they actually talk about their design and that it's actually good, I mean, I'm open to covering it, but not just blindly. All right, anyway, here we go. Guild Wars 1. So, what were we left with? We have an elite skill that I don't recall collecting. Defiant with Jinray, right, of course. Wanderlust, I'm going to wiki right now, because I think we can pick that up somewhere nearby. Like outside the marketplace or something. It's outside Tanakai Temple. Kwansong Spirit Seek. So that's going to be our first job. We're totally going to get that. There's no way I'm going to avoid or ignore picking up that bad boy. So yeah, I'll meet you guys at the Zinku corridor. As long as there's a skill vendor here. I'm not sure whether there actually is going to be. Here we go, here's one. And we'll go from there. It looks like everybody started hitting 20 now. I, of course, am also 20. This was the big moment. We hit it last stream, I'm pretty sure. Let's pick up another Signature Capture, and let's see if there's any new skills. Spawning Power, we're still capped. Restoration, we've still not really looked at. Vampiric Horrors have appeared. Probably the least interesting Guild Wars 1 minion skill, if I remember rightly. Just the costs to get these summons out over the others for the benefit, the lifesteal benefit, it's just not enough. And it wasn't, I don't think it really opened up any solo builds or anything either. Oh my god, look at this. Okay, alright. Hold on. I've got to accept one, kick them, and then invite them. And then when they accept, I'll be the leader. There we go. And now I can, I'm just going to go first come, first serve this time. This is it. First come, because you're all level 20. First come, first serve. I don't see Smitsky in there. He even said really early on the stream, please let me join, please. Too late, Smitsky. It's over. Alright. That's what's going on in chat. Oh my god, I'm not looking well enough at it. So first we're going to go on a little cap run. And then we'll push up. Again, if there's more players, just party up. Do a second party, people. Oh, there were 7 of us. Too many joined once the stream started. Oh, you had a 7-man party ready and waiting for ages, did you? I don't deserve that kind of loyalty. I really don't. It's okay. Look, there's 7 of you anyway. Just push out there. Go for it. We have a skill vendor in the guild hall for future reference for easy. Oh, look at this. The Spud. Oh, that reminds me. I've got to do a Spud 2 upgrade as well today. And I'm going to do it right now. Like, you're not even joking. We're quickly going into Guild Wars 2 for a second in the middle of the faction series. We're doing it. We're doing it. Anyone who's trying to follow all the upgrades will now have to look inside this Guild Wars 1 series, but we're doing it. I don't want to let the GMs down by forgetting again. We're just very, very, very quickly going to 250 years forwards in the future, and then we'll be back, okay? It will take all of about 2 seconds. So let me log in here. Let me go back to this. And let me retarget this. Oh, look at the multi-box stream. I always dreamed of doing a good multi-box stream that wasn't just Minesweeper and Guild Wars while I, you know, AFK Masart Overseer. Instead, it's going to be some Guild Wars 1, Guild Wars 2 Guild Hall crossover action. If we're not at, like, one of the corresponding... Is there, like, a Nightfall Hall that we should pick? Is it called the Windswept Haven in that game? I don't know, but we should double up. Or we should at least get a Factions Hall. WP is really Thanos with the Time Stone, the Snapper Soon. After the embarrassment of thinking that Boots' Space Marine on Boots' bad builds was Thanos, I actually committed to watching the movie, which I have now done. So it's like I no longer have to fear spoilers from the internet. Right, if I remember correctly, they were advocating at least one of the mine upgrades. So let's just quickly pop that. We have the Isle of Meditation in Guild Wars 1, which is a Factions one. Well, we'll go have a look at that in Factions in a second. That sounds awesome. That's very, very, very cool. Let's just go over here. Guild Wars HD add-on, it's amazing. I know, look. It's like a whole new game. You would have never realized it's just increased rendering capabilities. Yeah, all this Canthan sand. Don't worry, guys, look. Spud 2, the NA Spuds, they've been working hard, and they deserve to get their upgrades. I mean, I did an upgrade during the week, so I don't know how much Ethereum they would have built.
What now?
Let's have a look here very, very briefly. Here you go. They can get capacity, so this is good. The capacity is a great upgrade because if I'm really late, it continues working to our advantage. So it's going to cost all of our Ethereum to get this, 500 of our favor. It required that we have several things already. Now, it's Elderwood planks, Mithril, Bloodstone bricks, 40 bricks, and 35 greater runes of holding. So they've accomplished this. This is fantastic. Going to get rid of all of our Ethereum, which means we won't be able to get anything else. But now our cap for Ethereum is much higher, which in theory also unlocks other things that require a higher cap. See how this one, you need 15,000 in the bank just to be able to even consider looking at. So you need these. Yeah, the mining rates aren't necessarily worth it for how slowly I do this. But yeah, excellent stuff. That's a big moment for Spud 2, and good job to all of you guys. Really. Okay. Let's close this down. And now let's come back here. And there we go. See? Look at that. It took us just a couple of seconds. Totally professional. I'm not going to go to the guild hall here because I don't want to break up the party. Let's go. Let's just go out immediately. Let's actually get some gameplay. Honestly. Honestly. Just go and get some gameplay. We've got to go into the temple itself, which, if I remember, the entrance is a little bit weird. You have to speak to an NPC or something. That's the next primary quest, which I haven't got yet, and I'm not interested in getting. Did we just walk across the bridge over here? Maybe we do. And yeah, we can move on. Let me swap this for this and get our next skill. Now, this will be our first relevant skill as well, which is kind of cool. Okay. Hello, chat. Again, I would just like to say I'm really enjoying the LP, especially the Ore story arc. I'm really excited to see what you do next and how you'll present them to us. Also, going back to Cauliflower was a nice touch. We hadn't seen her in a while. Thank you. I mean, I started feeling really strange. There's a point where I assumed people kind of knew what was going on with the series. But there started becoming all these comments of people saying, oh, I guess we've abandoned Cauliflower. Oh, I guess she's not coming back. I don't know why anyone thought we would just abandon her. What do you mean it's a nice touch? To me, it was, you know. Kwang Sang, by the way. I mean, we got more lore. Hold on. Before I start rattling off about Guild Wars 2, let's read about Vizu herself. So first we can speak to her. Thank you for freeing me from Shiro's bonds. Now that this place is safe again, you may visit whenever you wish to consult with me or any of the other heroes of Tanakai Temple. And we will do this in the story soon. In fact, the primary quest I think is about to take us here. 200 years ago, a young but talented assassin known as Vizu gave her life protecting the Emperor. While attending the Harvest Festival, Vizu chanced to lock eyes with the Emperor's main bodyguard, and what she saw there chilled her to the bone. Citing upon a premonition, she began... This is interesting. Sorry, acting upon a premonition. It's interesting that she actually did have something prophetic, and it was a cheater prophecy that manipulated Shiro in the first place. So that's kind of weird. How was she delivered a premonition? Anyway, she began to make her way through the tightly packed crowds and closer to the temple. Think of the trailer that we opened this with, remember? She was doing exactly that. Before she could reach it, however, an alarm was sounded and she heard the sounds of a fight from the tower where Emperor Angsai-an was to have made his blessing to Dwayna. Using the tools of her profession, she shadow-stepped to the tower, where she saw Shiro standing over the Emperor's body, feeding off of his life force. She called to him, and then, using the last reserves of her energy, shadow-stepped behind him, digging her daggers into his shoulders. This is interesting. She has, like, the last reserves of her energy. She only had the energy for 2 shadow steps. And then 1 backstab. Digging her daggers into his shoulders. Vizu's brave move provided the Kurzik and Luxon champions the time they needed to get to the tower. And they finished off the betrayer using his own blades, which he had dropped when Vizu attacked. Unfortunately, Vizu was killed when Shiro's death wail washed over the lands. In what... Vizu was killed when Shiro's death wail washed over the lands in what has since become known as the Jade Wind. There you have it. And it's really kind of cool, actually. The one thing Guild Wars 1 lacks is being able to find her petrified body. But yeah, so any great heroes of the past, and perhaps even the present, can and would end up here, should they be honoured. And so you can wander around and get like loads more of the tablets, which we already read out in the previous stream, and the lore. And so our job, though, is to actually find something to kill, I think. And we're going to be walking up north of the temple to where more dangerous things lie. So yeah, let's go up. Now, yeah, with the LP, I mean, come on. Caraflower, I wasn't just going to randomly abandon one of the characters we'd established for no reason at just a random point. We were going to go back to her. And maybe I have that assumption that people understand the personal story, but the game doesn't unify at Forging the Pact. It doesn't all just become one line. It often bounces into one line, but it's still essentially 3 distinct stories, 3 distinct fears, and then 3 distinct sort of pseudo orders, if you will, afterwards. So yeah, I mean, we have lots of cause to have Caraflower continuing on. I actually just got done editing the new episode of that as well, and I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty happy. My big problem right now with that is I've gone off the deep end with it. I really have. In terms of just all the shit that I'm putting on it. So today I've not done a comment highlight, and I might stop those. It didn't encourage comments enough. So, and I know some of you liked it, but really the point is I'm trying to get more people commenting, going back on the video, and then maybe get a bit of viewership or something off of it. But it's sort of killing me to do what I'm doing at the moment with that. And it's not made a difference, unfortunately. Putting it at the start of the videos didn't really make much of a difference. Putting it at the end of the videos didn't really make a difference. So I figure I'll just try and keep things easy for myself. So people in chat are saying it won't spawn. There's no enemies. This place gives me PTSD. It took me all of last night to clear. This boss doesn't spawn if a meeting with the Emperor is active. Okay, so because lots of us are in our primary quest, it's not going to spawn. So here, we'll all resign out, and then we'll all do the primary quest, and we'll get Wanderlust afterwards, I'm afraid. We'll do it that way. Yeah, there you go. People are saying it in chat as well. Just wait for that final resignation. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, oh, listen. I'm not trying to disparage the comment. There, a few of you guys are amazing, and you leave lots of really big, meaty comments. And honestly, I love them, and they're really good. The point is, I just want more, basically. You know, I'm just being greedy, and I want more. Or I don't know if it's greed, because if I'm dedicating nearly all of my time, except this faction series, to that, which is basically the facts of my working life at the moment, I was just trying to see if there was something more I could do. And the comment highlights just sort of don't go far enough. The other problem is I can't really do a comment highlight on the really great comments, the big walls of text that people drop, and I'd love to, but then I'm literally like, it becomes a Q&A video, and it's like, you know, 5 to 10 minutes at the end of an episode, you know, trying to have a discussion with an individual in the community. So I'm ending up highlighting kind of quick, lazy comments that don't add very much. So I don't know. I don't know whether it was worth it in the end. Emperor Kisu wishes to speak with you. When he received word that Shiro was within the city walls, he ordered the Imperial army to surround the area. He is in the temple now, seeking counsel from the spirits ensconced there, and he awaits your arrival. Right, listen. We've never met that Emperor in the series so far, so this is a big special moment for us. This is like your moment of meeting Queen Jenna. However, I will point out that those beta factions players had already met the Emperor, because the Emperor was present in the day of the Tengu special event festival that only triggered once if you got into the factions betas and pre-release stuff. I'm pretty sure the Emperor was there along with Talon and so on. So you would have met him before if you were like one of those special few. Not even I was one of those people, but yeah, it's a thing. All right, let's move on up. Let's do this and then get some enemies to spawn, which is kind of weird, but yeah. No, it's not worth it, Doug. Picking a tiny slice of a big comment doesn't give the essence of why I love the big comment, and that's the point. There's no middle ground. It's just an extra little bit. It's literally like another half an hour. Well, 10 minutes to half an hour of every video of every day, doing something that didn't change anything. I had cool comments before. I have cool comments after, but the quantity never changed with that. So what's the point? Is basically the fact. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. The Canthan Empire has seen dark times before, but I fear that Shiro brings a darkness no light can penetrate. You look very cool, my friend. I want an outfit like this. Not an outfit. I want an armor set like this when and if we get here in Guild Wars 2. Shiro's purpose here was to bind these heroic spirits into magical constructs and bend them to his will. If he had been successful, he would undoubtedly have become much more powerful. Once again, young hero, the Empire finds itself in your debt. I have spoken with Vizu and learned much from... I love how candid he is here. For the Emperor to say that everyone's in your debt, I could turn around and be like, bitch, give me some money. Right now, you know, give me an estate. Give me some land. I have spoken with Vizu and learned much from her. I believe she can help you gain access to the artifacts of which she spoke. Count Petrov Zuheltsa of the Kurziks has sent his people here to begin arbitrating annual terms of war between his people and the Luxons. I will attend to that, and while I do, you will take the opportunity to speak with his daughter, who is traveling with them. If she were made to understand the importance of our mission, I believe she would persuade her father, to help us. I'm reading these so badly today, guys. I'm so sorry. Find my attendant, the one known as the Emperor's Voice, and he will give you further instructions. Okay. He brings a darkness no light can penetrate. I mean, again, that's a great example. I've mentioned it many times. I'll continue to, because I don't like the undue criticism on Guild Wars 2 quite often. That line there sounds great, but it only works in text. You try and voice act that crap, it sounds cheesy and ridiculous. And basically, if you think about packed NPCs wandering around, Zaitan brings a darkness that no light can penetrate. You can imagine them saying that and it not being riveting or exciting at all, but it's basically the same caliber. It's just stilted out loud and poetic and interesting on paper. Have I collected my new armor set for my 6th birthday? Yes, I did, actually. Well, I haven't collected it. I previewed it. I have got the birthday gift and whatever. I sent this in a tweet to Shaman. Here's the tweet I sent. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but I was very surprised by myself when I got that. Oh, he responded to me. Shit, and I didn't notice. Here's what I said. I said, it's weird to me that I just got a full armor set, not outfit, a full armor set for 6 years of dedication to this game, that very few people are still in that position, and I hardly even consider it a reward. Strange. That's what I said to Shaman, and that's how I feel. It's strange to me. I didn't really care. I mean, that was the thing. I was like, oh, cool, an armor set. I like it, and I think the devs did awesome, and I think they should be applauded for doing a cool thing like that. Don't get me wrong. It's brilliant. It's like when last Halloween a full new armor set came in. People ask for the armor sets, and the devs are listening and doing it. And from like a consumer standpoint, and as wood of potatoes, looking out for the players and stuff like that, it's great, right? I'm not actually whining. I'm happy with it. But I am curious about myself in that with my own psychology, I really didn't care that I got the armor. I think that I can speculate as to why that is. It's because I didn't really do anything for it, I feel like, and also because of that thing where there's so many skins and so much option and variety in Guild Wars anyway. It's what I was talking about with cosmetic loadouts and Fashion Wars 2 before. But yeah, you know, I put that into another game, another franchise, another feeling. Even Guild Wars 1, hell, if they gave me a full armor set, like a 15k armor set special only because I got there for 6 years. I mean, that's so crazy, you know? And look how far the devs have had to go to make people feel rewarded at those birthdays. That's like the ultimate thing. Not a backpack, not a mini that's devalued and diluted because of the gem store. A whole armor set. What can you do more than that? They can't do... That is the ultimate thing. And it didn't excite me, even remotely. There was just nothing. No, nothing. And I'm not sad about it or anything. I just found it strange. I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. I wonder if anyone else is in the same position. But it is great. I appreciate it's great. The Emperor is a very wise man. You should take his advice and seek out Danica. It sounds like she might become a very valuable ally in the future. Now, Danica, if you guys remember, we heard a little bit about, and I said, ooh, I guess we'll never meet this amazing woman. Well, we are going to meet her. And if you've enjoyed the faction's voice acting so far, boy, believe me, you will enjoy it in a moment. We have learned of a growing movement among the Kurzik youth that might prove helpful to our cause. It seems they have been stirred by recent events, having grown tired of watching the world pass them by from the comfort and protection of their grand towers. The Emperor wishes you to speak with Danica Zuheltzer, Count Zuheltzer's daughter. She may be more prone to helping us gain the Urn of St. Victor than her elders. Seek her out near the Sunjang district. Mendo will accompany you into Kurzik territory. It is Master Togo's hope that he will be able to call in some favors, since he gave the Zuheltzers some assistance many years ago while he was a student at the monastery. I'm gonna sneeze. Bless me, sorry about. There's actually an untold mystery and chapter of Menlo's life that to this day the franchise has never explained, by the way, and I'd love to see a Guild Wars 2 expansion do so. So we'll see how this feels. I'll speak with Danica, the Count's daughter. But now that we're off of the meeting of the Emperor, and I hope everyone is, we can go get Wanderlust now, and we can wander around while we do our rambling. Yeah, oh my god, I was going to say something else about him there. I can't remember. Anyway, oh yeah. Zuheltzers. So, just a little tidbit for you guys. One of the most frequently seen lore-oriented names you ever find in Guild Wars 2 is of that family. Loads of people name themselves after the Kurzik houses, and you'll find that adjoining to names. So if you ever see that on someone's name in Guild Wars 2, Zuheltzer or whatever, they tend to be a GW1 fan, and that to me is a sign of just how well established like the Kurzik side of the game and culture was, and how it intrigued people. Obviously, you see a lot of people making lore-appropriate names for the 5 currently playable races and factions, but when you go a bit broader than that, it always makes me smile. I always, like, do the equivalent of winking and nodding at, like, a random nerd when I see that their username has a Zuheltzer in it or something, because I'm like, yeah, you're a little nerd. Yeah, I like you. Still no enemies, but we're in the temple, right? And it's supposed to be well tended to here. Oh, Danica's voice actor is in Digimon, is she? Interesting. Yeah, Lucas's crush, exactly. That face when WP read your shitty emote suggestions better than the Emperor's own words. How dare you? I read that beautifully. Yeah, let me scroll up. I want to see what people were saying about the armor and stuff. Have I scrolled up too far? Oh, I might have, actually. Rice Cream. That's a cool name, dude. The problem with the gem store is that items are so particle heavy that the normal B-Day armor set look plain and boring. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a sense of that as well. There's the visual arms race these games get into. Guild Wars 1 was struggling with it as well. Unless the devs are godly at keeping things refined and safe and resisting the temptation to do giant wings and stuff, and, you know, just enormous, unrealistic stuff, the game will deteriorate. No, I get what you mean there. But I would never complain about the devs making a new refined set, even if most people don't care about it anymore. Because, frankly, you kind of need to do... The more armors that are in the game that aren't ridiculously flashy, you know, they're not contributing to the problem, at least. So, stepping back from the arms race is better than nothing. See, it's one of those weird things. So, Tipsy Seraph in chat there says, plain is always better than crappy, shiny eyesores. It's always a weird thing because for as long as I've been on the internet, for as long as I've ever interacted with losers and nerds on forums and been one myself and happily relished in all this kind of like pre-release discussion and stuff, everyone always says on the internet, oh, I hate flashy stuff. Yeah, I want realistic. Oh, I think it looks bad. Everyone, you would think from the amount you see it, it's like there's no other way of life. And yet, the proof is in the pudding that nearly every single game, nearly every single franchise, everything, and all the top-selling stuff, it's about being flashy, it's about being shiny, it's about being unrealistic, you know? And so it's always weird to me that those people don't seem to defend themselves in online discussion. Like, everyone is apparently like Tipsy Seraph in chat right now, but they're not. They're genuinely not. And it's a curious thing to me. It's like people are ashamed of not being... Like, we like to think we're refined, perhaps. We like to imagine that we're a cut above. We like to... here we go. This is it. Consung Spirit Speak. And the truth is, perhaps many more of us than would like to admit it, many of us tipsy seraphs out there are actually 100% ready to spam the visual effects up like crazy if it makes us look a little... And I'll admit to being that, by the way. All I care about for Fashion Wars is standing out. It's all I care about. Whether that means I play a giant, massive Norn that looks gross, but it stands out, fine. Whether that means that I have a super rare skin no one ever seen, but it's really mediocre looking, fine. I don't care, just make me stand out. That's all I care about. And, like, being flashy is one way of accomplishing that. So, anyway, here we go. Wanderlust. Communing. An elite binding ritual. This is our first elite spirit. Now it's communing, and we haven't stacked communing at all. So this is it at its lowest scale, so don't be too unexcited. It comes out at level 1. Whenever this spirit's attack hits a stationary foe, the foe's knocked down, and the spirit loses health. The spirit will also die, regardless, after 30 seconds. Now, I love the design of this skill, and always... First, you'll be thinking, oh, isn't that crap? Because everyone's always going to be moving. No, this ain't no Guild Wars 2. This is literally 99% of the things you do in this game you have to stand still to do. So as long as you're, like, engaging or disengaging, you're fine. You can always run away from a Wanderlust or run to a Wanderlust to beat it up. But the second you're standing still for any long casts and stuff, it can knock you down and chain knock you down. And it's really, really, really dangerous for that. It can combo with other things like Earthbound, we talked about before, could be really fun synergy. But the other really nice design I like is the health loss. Whenever spirits do the health loss, it's great. By stacking communing points, we diminish the health loss, but then we also increase its health pool by leveling it up, and then we have ample reason to utilize other synergies like binding armor and whatnot to get the Wanderlust spirit as healthy as possible, you see, and to pump up spawning power to get it as healthy as possible. And that's what's kind of beautiful about these kind of mechanics. You'll notice that even with no investment, it already lasts 30 seconds. So when we invest into it, we can permanently have this up at just a second cast time and only 10 energy. So it's really efficient. It's a beautiful spell. And maybe something we want to use. Is there anything else people want to capture while we're here? You can type it in-game chat. If there's anything else people want to capture, we'll do it. Otherwise, let's move on. Maybe we'll play a Wanderlust build. Yeah, armors can be intricate and detailed without being glowing eyesores, but once you put them in a environment where everything else is massive eyesores, people's, like, eyes won't appreciate small detail anymore so much. Does that make sense? I mean, I know that that's how I work. I'll go for the fairly tacky... There you go, everybody's saying no. Alright, let's just resign then. I go for fairly tacky shit, to be honest, as long as it's big and evident. But I miss it, you know. I do miss the more refined armor sets and stuff. You know, it comes into more than the gem store, by the way, guys. It's a lot of things. A lot of things that I think people who don't think deeply... Many of us only think shallowly about games and MMOs. And you should really try to exhaust these topics. Because think about this, right? think about the way people regard the Dreamer and Quip. And whine about them and say that the worst thing, a pony with a tramp stamp of the ArenaNet logo on its arse and all this stuff. But the reality is, they're not actually bad for the game in and of themselves. They're not bad for the game. They're fine. The problem is how frequently you see them, how accessible they are. And that's where the QOL and accessibility aspects of Guild Wars 2 drag the entire product down all the time. When those things were envisioned, when many of these legendaries and things were envisioned, the idea could be that only, like, a couple of people every 10,000 should have those legendaries. Original design, that's what it should be. And then it's okay if in extremely rare circumstances you see these truly wild things. I don't actually think there's anything wrong with that. I'm okay with it. And that's true for aura infusions. That's true for anything that looks gaudy and ridiculous. If it's balanced, there are multiple ways to balance it and allow it be in your game. You know, I talk a lot about, like, in this idea of PvE leagues where everyone kind of resets and it feels like launch again and we all progress up, you know, under a slightly different rule set. It would be so cool for the game in terms of robbing you of all your skins and all your transmutation stuff. And you might think, oh, that sounds horrible, but it would just be for that account shard. But the point is, you'd go back to Queenstown, people would be back in those early town clothes kind of things, the very simple, refined armors. And now, you don't really need a flashy skin to stand out anymore, because everyone's reset to that baseline. So it's not really that the devs ever made a specific decision to denigrate the visual style of Guild Wars 2 or to change it into something else. Adding Quip and adding a mace that looks like a disco ball and stuff isn't the problem. It's how they were unwilling to address the balance of legendary weapon acquisition, unwilling to remove rewards from players over the years, unwilling to balance the economy as conservatively and aggressively as possible to limit the number of people getting those legendaries, and basically their philosophies about freedom cost the game in a ton of different areas. It's not that anyone would have ever sat down and said, I know that we're really worried, because Guild Wars 1 is regarded as being very, like, I don't have the language. This is the thing. I don't have the education on the language for it. What's a word to describe this? A more muted aesthetic, right? There must be a word for that. But it was well regarded for that. It was well regarded for having this kind of near fantasy approach to how everyone looked and felt. They wouldn't have willingly, wantonly abandoned that just for no reason. It's like what I talk about with story as well, a lot of ways. In so many ways, you know, look at, who was it? Is it Kristen Perry? Was that her name? That, the woman that did the incredible shit with the dyes, I think it was, pre-release, and you had all those beautiful goddamn articles about, didn't she also do development of the Sylvari? You know, these people were paid for many years to think deeply about how they wanted the game to look and feel and the kind of dyes they'd go for and that stuff. And it's not just that ArenaNet got greedy one day and decided to move away. It's that the talents and ideals of individuals get crowded out by poor design. And it happens everywhere. And it's a shame. By the way, that's not me saying that ArenaNet are unprofessional. It's just that I think that game development is a fucking hard job, and especially when you look at a big game like an MMO. and I'm just trying to explain that it's not all some conspiracy theory. It's not some... No one's there is conspiring to do the game in and to change it to where it ended up. You know, these are organic things that have take on a life of their own in many ways. What a fluffy nonsense load of shit I just rattled out. Right, here we go. Danica. Oh, how do we voice her? Because she has got her voice. Oh, I mean, I don't want to spoil it. Okay, I'm just going to give her a normal voice. And then we'll try and emulate her when we actually hear her. There. I'm so sorry you had to see that. Shh, it will be okay now, I promise. Hush now. Very Mary Poppins we are right now. Oh, this is a little kid. They were thick. Then they tried to eat me. Yes, I know. They were very, very sick, and they weren't themselves. They would never harm you otherwise. But it's all over now. They're at peace. Mummy? Shh, don't worry. I'll send someone to look after you. My father will send food and medicine. Everything will be all right. You'll see. They're there. I am no longer content to remain in the protective confines of my society. My people think to keep evil at bay by reading signs and portents, performing rituals, and blindly following the words of the Redemptors. But we are no safer from evil than our neighbors, and we are doing nothing to help. I simply cannot sit still any longer. So here we hear about the Redemptors. Cool title, right? I should make a character in Guild Wars 2. Redemptor Liss or something. The Count's daughter. We are here on a diplomatic mission. When we arrived, we heard rumors of a plague. But I had no idea. This poor child. I had to kill her parents right in front of her to keep them from eating her alive. It breaks my heart to see all these people suffering. And I wonder, can we Kurziks afford to simply stand by and watch? Is this what the gods would want us to do? Even if the plague never reaches Kurzik lands? Do we not have a duty to help? For generations we have lived, protected lives in our stuffy old towers. We didn't make a move without months of careful prayer and deliberation. Well, personally, I'm sick of it. The time for careful deliberations is past. Of course I'll help you. Meet me outside the city gates. Alright, Danica, sweet. And we get to get outside of the city. I'm well up for that. I love the idea of their old towers, which sadly, because interiors weren't a big thing in Guild Wars 1, we never really get to truly visit and appreciate. Listen, Guild Wars 2 expansion, back to Echovald Forest. I don't care whether it's petrified or not. Give me a fuck-off massive forest with cathedrals and things built into these enormous trunks and logs and things. Give me towers baked into enormous trunks, the likes of which you've never seen. I'm talking big high fantasy here. And give them to me as interiors I can explore. Then let me climb up them, come out on balconies, swing via vines to other ones, turn it into a dungeon or some crap. Oh, 10 out of 10. Give me basically another version of volcanic explosions from Season 3, but instead it's hooking onto vines and swinging like Tarzan in the forest. Okay, alright, there you go. Yeah, and she has pets here. This is a Rottweiler. This one's called Sheena, and this one's called Brutus. I'd love to see... You know how, like, Oak Hearts and certain characters in Guild Wars 2 had radical character redesigns, and they just look awesome now? I'd love to see what Rottweilers become in Guild Wars 2. Wouldn't that be fantastic if they did, like, a totally new style for them? Be great. So, yeah, I mean, the color of that story as well is really grim. Killing a kid's parents in front of her eyes. It's kind of funny, you know. I'm watching Star Trek, the original series, a lot at the moment. And it's so weird watching 1960s TV, guys. It's really weird. One of the earliest episodes they do, they're trying to talk about, like, what it means to be a good wife. And essentially the ethics and the morality and the idea of the whole episode is... Men shouldn't want a wife just because she looks good. They should want a wife because she's great at cooking and cleaning and doing the housework. And it's so crazy because you watch it and it's like a proper weird episode to watch now. And it's like all these women are like, oh, I can be an amazing wife. Oh, and it's like there's like this abusive guy and they're so subservient and just like... It's creepy. It's really, really strange. They see there's this asshole guy, and the show just assumes that this woman has to be with him, and it thinks it's being really righteous as well as it discusses. Where did my team go? I'm boxed in. I'm alone. It's amazing. They do all these weird things, like, and it's just so ballsy and off and strange. I just watched an episode where they go to this planet where that's basically inhabited by children. The children live 100 years but only age 1 month, and all the adults died. So it's what happens to Earth at that point, you know. And they're living in a ruined civilization where all these children who are hundreds of years old, nonetheless, they're all that's left. And it poses this question, what would this society be like? And, you know, I would assume it doesn't matter if you've gone through puberty or not. You can learn and be intelligent and communicate and figure stuff out. But the show just, like, takes this stance that children are morons and that they can't do anything, and that a 300-year-old prepubescent human would just be, like, still playing ring around the roses and stuff, and that, like, adults aren't allowed to play games, and that loss of desire to play games, and it doesn't mean video games, but, you know, that desire for fun and companionship among people is, like, lost. It's really weird. It's just weird how the science doesn't work, and it's just strange. I mean, that episode's creepy as well, because it's got all these scenes with Captain Kirk trying to be, like, nice to this little girl to make her feel happy, But it's really creepy in that basically he's almost like flirting with her. She's almost an adult, so he's almost like flirting with her, and he knows that she's like attracted to him. And it's just got like these balls to tackle these weird, like icky subjects now. You wouldn't, since the 80s and 90s, you wouldn't see TV go with touch with a fucking barge pole, right? It's just very, very, very odd. And I don't know, I just got flashes of all of that and that weirdness looking at Guild Wars 1 and how it's got the balls to just talk about parents being killed in front of their children and stuff, and then you look at Guild Wars 2 and now it's, you know, much more refined, and you got to dig quite deep to get that kind of stuff. It's not like Golden Path main narrative. Anyway, I would really really recommend, if you guys want to watch that old stuff, because it's fascinating how strange things are. And it's really slow as well. Here's the thing that I realized about that show. Nowadays, when you watch like these, you know, sci-fi, whatever, something that's got action elements to it, you have these really long fight sequences full of CGI where people are like beating the crap out of each other, and, you know, moons are being thrown at people to pill for an example, all kinds of little stuff like that, you know. And we get impressed and interested by it as people living in the 2010s because, oh, the CGI looks really good, blah, blah, blah. But you gotta understand, when you go back to watch Star Trek, the original series, it feels really slow and boring. And you're like, my God, this is just like, how are they just lingering with no real dialogue or substance for so long? How were people watching this? Were people just slow-brained? But you realize that basically back then, that was just fascinating to people, like, because their mastery of visual effects and building these futuristic sets and stuff that we don't even blink at. It's completely uninteresting. You realize just how much padding and fluff there is. And it makes me realize that probably in another 40 years or so, people will watch what's currently gripping to us and be like, this is slow, because they'll realize that there's no dialogue in the crap that we're watching anyway. It's just that, oh, the CGI looks good and is impressive to us at the moment. Does that make sense? It's fascinating, guys. It really, really, really is. And I don't regret getting into it at all. Especially not since they announced friggin' Patrick Stewart is coming back for new Star Trek. Oh, hype! My God, in the prime timeline, post-Voyager. We're actually going post-Voyager. My God, the opportunity is... Can you imagine if Cisco comes back and stuff? Ugh. Sorry. Look, we're outside of the city, guys. It's amazing. And we had to wade through poo to get here. I'm not sure whether I really talked about that. But yeah, you kind of have to go through a sewer to get out. Yeah, there's a siege turtle here as well. Somebody spawned. This is super mega spoilers, because we shouldn't see this until we go to the Jade Sea. But look at how cool this is. Potential mount. I guess we'll talk more about that later. Potential Guild Wars 2 mount, though, I definitely see it as an offering. We'll change our build in a minute. Stuff's dying too quick. Is basically that's the fact of it right now. Stuff's dying too fast. I never understood why Canthons viewed turtles as dragons, essentially. But technically, a certain dragon breed might... Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they call dragons that you don't think of as conventional dragons. But I think the point is, I mean, this is where I get a bit... I lose some confidence. But isn't it about real-world parallels? And isn't it that various Asian... Vasion? I just invented a new word there. Vasion, meaning various Asian. Various Asian, like, cultures and societies in the real worlds regards quite a lot of things as dragons when they're not really. Or as a Western dragon, we wouldn't identify it as such. And that's Guild Wars kind of looking back at those things. Isn't that kind of the point? As far as I recall, anyway. Heaven's Delight interrupted. I mean, just Spirit Rift just never lands. Will I watch the Pokemon marathon? No, I've tried many times to marathon that show and get the whole way through it, but I always get burned out when they're about halfway through Hoenn or later in Hoenn. Just the change of all the voice actors, the blatant moment where you realize that they don't care about continuity anymore. It's just continuously chasing that, like, 10 to 14-year-old demo and just sticking there forever. I just feel... I just can't stick with it, unfortunately. There's like another voice actor shift somewhere late in Hoenn, and I mean, I really do think that show peaks at the Silver Conference. Everything up to the Silver Conference is amazing, but I can't get further than that, unfortunately. I've kept up with the movies for what it's worth, but Yeah, I mean, Hoen's alright, and I do enjoy it for what it's worth, but there's just something really stings me about the way they start handling the continuity of that show. I can't keep going with it, unfortunately. I've tried on several occasions, and it's a lot to get through. Anyway, it's horrible, just horrible. This plague is out of control, and the people of Cantha are dying. We have to do something. We have to help. This brings back memories from the faction beta. I just read one of our party's lines. Oh, Kim Rusar. Because your name is Kim Rusar. I thought Danica had met someone on this field. And he was going to say, this brings back memories from the Jade Wind or something. Redemptor Carl is who I should have been reading. I'm sure there isn't anything we can do that the Emperor isn't already doing, Danica. Certainly we can send food and supplies if they're needed, but there is something we can do, Redemptor, and I intend to do it. My new friends here have discovered the cause of the plague, and they need the Urn of St. Victor to help contain its spread. I'm going to help them retrieve it. You'll do no such thing, Danica. The plague could easily spread to Kurzik lands. Perhaps we can use this to our advantage, considering the current state of our cathedral. Also, they're hinting that maybe some things have fallen into disrepair. Master Togo of Xingje Monastery believes Shiro the Betrayer has returned, and that this plague is a result of his presence. Shiro? No! It's impossible! What if it isn't, Redemptor? These people intend to fight him using the Sacred Urn of St. Victor, and I'm going to take it to them! We will return to House Zuhelzer immediately and call a holy council. Man, I'd love the idea of a flashback now, or a flash sideways where we get to see that. 24 days while the Redemptors consider the omens and determine what the gods are trying to tell us. Our ancestors knew what it meant to act. With their help, I intend to act now. Danica! St. Victor slew Shiro 200 years ago. If he has truly returned, the urn may hold the power to defeat him. And consider, the protections in the Cathedral Zuhelzer have been unpredictable since the Jade Wind. These look like sturdy heroes. If they brave the cathedral and retrieve the urn, they will also be providing a helpful service to our house. This is the right thing to do. It's what the gods want. I just know it. Please, don't stand in my way. It seems there are multiple benefits to your assisting these heroes, Danica. Very well. Besides, I am certain your father would like to see Menlo again. We thought he was dead after what happened. Ooh. There it is. That's the mystery. They never explain that. As far as I recall, I think there's one slight nod back to it right at the end of the Kurzik arc, if you go fully into them. But what happened with Menlo that almost killed him? Listen, ArenaNet. I don't care if it's some big part of the story. Just give me a random little torn note in a journal in a camp somewhere that survived inexplicably 250 years. Explain this to me. Teach me. Or, you know, have some priory researcher looking into it. Yeah, Danica going ham on healing the minions. This is actually a side of her AI that can get you screwed in the mission coming up. Seriously, I'll show you why. But basically, she stands still spamming heals instead of moving to open a door. And she just spends forever there. It's the worst. Everybody's now RPing full on, hoping I'll read it out. Listen, guys, I don't like RPers. I don't like RPing. I think they're all losers. And you're not going to trick me into becoming one of them. Because I'm a cool cat. This plague is a message from the gods. Clearly, they are not happy with the Canthan Empire. Look at how sweet this guy looks. Almost envoyish. Look at that. Badass. Look at that. How heavy would that be, seriously? The Count's daughter. The gods are very wise. I should have seen the signs, but I was admittedly short-sighted. We shall allow you to retrieve the Urn of St. Victor, and in return, you shall help us with the little problem we've had with the Zuhelzer Cathedral. Of course, we must still discuss all of the details with someone of repute. I have heard that Menlo is with you. The Zuhelzer family owes him a great debt of gratitude for something he did for us years ago. Bring him to House Zuhelzer, and we shall finalize our deal. When you are ready to travel there, speak with the lift operator. He will be expecting you. Now, listen. Menlo is pretty Traherne-like here. Let's be honest. The personal story is all, oh, Traherne owes me a favor. Yeah, I'm a Tengu. He owes me a favor. Yeah, I'm a member of one of the orders. He owes me a favor. Yeah, I'm one of the leaders of one of the orders. He owes me a favor. Yeah, I'm a Lagos. He owes me a favor. Or I owe him a favor. Sorry, the other way around. Constantly. It's just, oh, yeah, let's just slap some random backstory out there and pretend that it means something. I see what you're doing there, ArenaNet, and Guild Wars 1 was no stranger to it. They're doing it here with Menlo as well. We never actually hear. Yeah, so we're going to go into Martu Keep here. Pretty special little place that we heard about before. I can't remember. At the start of the series, we talked about this place a little bit. Hopefully that didn't cancel our quest. It didn't.
The Celestial Ministry is deeply concerned about the flow of refugees fleeing the city. We have the plague under control. There's nothing to fear. Convince the refugees that leaving Kaining is not in their best interest. Tell them return to the city.
Is it really now? I don't believe that, so no, I'm not going to help you here, Yoko. Attendant Yoko, I believe, amongst a few more of the NPCs here, is a reference to the Looney Tunes, isn't it? Or the, what they called? Is Wacko and stuff out here? I think it is, isn't it? I'm sure it's something like that. Or maybe scattered all across this continent. We will be back here later up into the Chenzon tunnels for the main story. One of the cool things that factions did that prophecies didn't, it looped you intelligently back to prior areas. But for now, let's just learn about Martu Keep. One of the oldest sections of Kaining City, Martu Keep sits at the base of the Qingshai Mountains and serves as the city's entry point for both Luxons and Kurziks. The keep, once a beautiful example of ancient Canthan architecture, has since fallen into neglect and disrepair. So there you have that. Pretty nice. What was the other thing? Did they offer new skills here? They might. There is a skill trainer. Let's have a look. I'm gonna make an Earthbound build here, just because we have enough damage and heals anyway, so we may as well have fun. A new channeling thing, the Nightmare Weapon. Target ally has a Nightmare Weapon, and their 3 attacks are reduced by 45, but still 45. So you can start siphoning health from people. I'm not really that excited about that. I'm not going to let you guys vote this time. I'm just going to do it on my own. Hold on. We're going to drop the channeling. We're going to bump up the communing. And we're going to play like this. So, channeling. We'll keep necrosis, just as a nice all-round high pressure. Rupture Soul is spawning power, so we might run with that. But here, so communing, we'll run the Armor of Unfeeling. Where was Earthbound, though? We'll run Union, Pain, Shadow Song. I don't care about Dissonance. Coming back here for Energy Management, we'll run the Boon of Creation again. Should we run Doom? That might be fun. No, we're going to be moving too quick for Doom. Faster recharges near a spirit. Ghostly Haste Necrosis spam would be kind of silly. Feast of Souls, Explosive Growth we could play with. Whenever we create a creature up to 5 near foes are struck. No, I'll use Explosive Growth with a certain signet that we'll be getting in the forest later. Which I think you guys know what I'm talking about. We'll do the last slot as the signet of capture. And then we're going to go buy Earthbound as long as it is actually where I think it is. Hold on. Communing. Yeah, Earthbind. Here you go. So, Wanderlust will knock these guys down, and Earthbind will hold them knocked down for a long period of time. The Armor of Unfeeling will allow Wanderlust to strike twice as much before killing itself, basically. I'll get rid of Pain and Shadow Song, because I'm assuming other players will run those. And let's pick up some of these. Let's do the Shelter Union combo. So, Shelter, create a spirit. People can't lose more than 10% maximum health, but every time that health is prevented, it takes damage, which is halved by Armor of Unfeeling. But then also Union acts afterwards, so we massively reduce our team's, you know, spike potential here. Getting spiked. And let's run another weird one, I guess. Displacement makes us block like mad, but it's too energy costly. Should I use a new weapon? This is a really spammable weapon. 2-second cooldown. And it gives people 150 max health. Let's run that. Which is actually anti-synergy with Shelter because they get max health, which means Shelter isn't so worthwhile. but for funsies. It's a different kind of skill. Should I run Soothing too? That sounds hilarious. Could get rid of Necrosis. No, let's not. Let's do it this way. What you'll find is I'm very cooldown heavy on this one. But the cooldowns are huge. And so what will happen is we'll look for skills that reduce the cooldown of our stuff later. Soothing is a fun, weird spirit, which I'd totally love to run and combo with another ritualist in our party. So the other writs, if you guys run like all the aggressive spirits and stuff, what we can do is we can have all the spirits in the game kind of thing, and you'd run Soothing at that point. But Soothing isn't fun unless you're just doing the flavor idea of having them all, you know. Dissonance, maybe I could run, but 25 energy, it's too much. It's too much. Brutal Weapon might be more fun than Vital Weapon. No. And now we're going to change our heads piece back over to Spawning Power. As you can see there. Okay. So there we go. We got a new build. Let's move on out. Draw Spirit would be fun for Wanderlust. Draw Spirit allowing us to move it, you mean? Because it's on a 45-second cooldown? I mean, this is going to be a frustrating build, but that's why Necrosis is there. Basically, we will tank up and have loads of spirits, and it'll be really fun. And then we're going to move away, and I'm going to be on cooldown and not be able to cast anymore. So we'll basically be leapfrogging engagements. And on those leapfrogged ones, I can spam Necrosis and still be valuable. It's that strong. So, yeah. Oh, we're talking about Peter Freeze, are we? Pete was so cool in terms of community interactions. He was such a troll, but actually a good one. Still stings me to think a bit about him not being there anymore. Imagine if this happened during POF development, we wouldn't have had the Choya. No, I think that they made the Choya. He just liked them. You know, one thing I've always, you know, respected the devs for different reasons, depending on what dev it is, and you know how much they really show themselves. So here, you notice our damage is very minimal. It's because we are on a channeling staff, despite the fact that we are now a communing guy. So I'm going to put the communing staff on instead. But one thing I quite respect as well, I still follow him on Twitter, and it's really cool to see. I mean, people really went a bit nuts at him, and kind of, he got some hate on Twitter, which he showed and stuff. But it was really cool how he just didn't give a crap, and he just kept tweeting pictures and, you know, of his life and reminding people I'm a human being with a pet and, you know, a family and stuff. And people just backed off. They laid off him very quickly. You know, just that unflinching, you're not going to stop me being who I am on the internet sort of attitude really seemed to pay off for him. And that was kind of cool to see, actually. Weird observation for me to make, I'm sure, but there you have it. So this is a beautiful thing I'm not really drawing attention to here. Look at this. The Echo Forest. Now, I know that doesn't look like much, but what the devs did was kind of beautiful. They give you the border to the city, so you get like a cool view of Kaineng from far away, and you also get a cool view of the Echo Vald from far away. And also, with the new graphics, these aren't obscured by fog in the background anymore, so you really do get this like nice moment. I remember being really struck by this as I was first walking over. One thing that Factions did quite well, I think, actually, through its trailer, through its media, you know, if you bought the physical boxed edition, you could see like the Echo Vald Forest and concept art and the manuals and stuff. You knew what these places were before you got to them, and nowadays people might regard that as spoilers, but what it meant was there was no way this wasn't going to impress me when I got here in the end, I guess. I don't know, maybe my standards were just quite low. But it was very, very, very exciting. And when we walk in, you'll see all of a sudden the lighting changes. I would love to see... I mean, there's such a weird thing. In 250 years, this place might just be green fully now. But the dark and the mist and the fog and the... Oh, it's... There's something about the petrified forest that I love a lot more than anything else. It's good to see other people here. Continuing to go along. So here we go. We get new audio as well now. New sounds as we visit the forest. Some of the Echo Vald Forest music is beautiful. So beautiful, they repurposed it in Eye of the North Dungeons. And then again in Guild Wars 2. So you've probably heard a ton of it. But the true nerds, we still associate it with this area of the world first and foremost. Where are we? Tanglewood Copse. And here you'll notice it's blue and it has an icon on it. This, and we're behind a border now. This is an outpost owned by players. So look, owned by the legit guild. The legit guild, you'll remember, also having the records for the challenge mission up here. So one of the very few communities left that obviously has claimed multiple records throughout the land now. So they have been fighting for the Kurziks and acquired a reasonable amount of faction, 5,684,000, and that has given them access to this map. What does that practically mean? Well, I'll show you in a second. Here's the description, though. A safe haven for travelers. Tangled Copse lies nestled between the outer edges of southern Kaineng City and the harsh, towering Quinkashim Mountains. According to legend, the first emperor stopped to camp here for the night during his inaugural tour of the Ekavald. It is now a site of pilgrimage for devotees of traditional Kanthan ancestor worship. You can see the guild's flag is there. And what they get as a benefit is, can you see this little this area here with this firework master, this merchant, that gatekeeper? The guild that owns it, the alliance that guild belongs to, I should say, and no others, they are allowed to come up to this gatekeeper and enter this special area no one else can. To me, he just says the legit guild controls this area, and we're not allowed to go further. But some players could go in there, and the coolest thing about it is that merchant is actually a discount merchant. The stuff you buy is like 20% cheaper on those merchants than anywhere else in the game. Some design that I'm sure you would never find in Guild Wars 2 these days is like putting discount merchants in the exclusive PvP area in Heart of the Mist now. Think about that. But also, no one will speak to us unless we formally ally with them for now. But yeah, the main point of those merchants is for lockpicks. When hard mode got added, you could buy cheaper lockpicks up there and then sell them on the player market. It was of some value for a while, maybe not so much anymore, I don't know. But yeah. Hey WP, how are you? For some reason I got nostalgic for FFX and now I'm rewatching your LP and enjoying again. Dumark, I think I saw you post on the New World video, didn't you? And you said, wow, has it already been 2 years? So what, you just started looking about the old stuff? You know, a funny thing, I randomly watched, if you go back on my streams on Wooden Potatoes 2 far enough, I'm currently doing a Guild Wars 2 Let's Play. But the reason I'm doing that Let's Play, I should really remember to have these up. One of the reasons, I've wanted to do it for a while and stuff, but one of my points of inspiration was I just somehow found myself watching the Final Fantasy X series. And I got nostalgic watching my own video. I watched my old Penance video, and I thought, man, I miss LPing. And it was that random wave of nostalgia, remembering that series, that gave me a bit more of a kick to do the Guild Wars 2 one here in 2018. Earlier in the year that happened. So yeah, I was watching a bit of that as well. Here we go. So Wanderlust. Let's watch the spirit. It attacks. It knocks the warden down. And then it attacks again. And the combo of the two keeps it on the floor. So here the warden, the leaf falls down. And they can't do anything. So it's complete just knock-lock ridiculousness. But here you'll see that the spirit is low. So I need to make sure I have Armor of Unfeeling up. And whatnot. Pick up a boon from the priest. Oh yeah, I'll show you guys this as well. So now that we're in their territory, if we speak to their priests, we can start accruing factions. So there was titles I showed you in Survivor and Sunspear and stuff. Well, here's the faction. We have 00000 because this is a new account. Our caps for these are all very low. But here, look. I am the caretaker of this shrine. What is your business here, my child? I'm interested in blessings. I have been known to perform the blessing of the Kurziks, which will give you 25 maximum health. It will cost you 100 gold to receive this. Yeah, alright, give it to me. It's not just that. It also gives you health regeneration, and you gain Kurzik faction for hunting in this area. Boss creatures provide bonus faction. This is kind of a wonky, weird little precursor to a feature they would wholly embrace in Nightfall. If you watch the Nightfall streams, you'll know all about it. It was very good for building Sunspear stuff, and they really refined it there, locking off different flavors of bounty for different types of flora and fauna based on your rank. Eventually, you could outrank an area. They did really well with Nightfall, and then they brought it back for Eye of the North as well, where it was more of a tacky time sink rep grind thing, but they did really, really well, and this was where it started, actually, here in Factions. Let's get these. And now every kill, you'll notice I get a green number, which represents my health. God, I need more energy. This staff isn't cutting it. But you'll also see I get a blue number, represent getting Kurzik faction. Look at that. We've got 50 now already. So we need to keep on moving. Would have been interesting to see what Guild Wars 2 play with that kind of stuff. Here's a white tiger. Potential ranger pet. Blue eyes. Very cute. Pretty little kitty cat. Funny, people would legit pay 100 gold for 25 max health in the sequel. Yeah, they would, absolutely. Absolutely. People would pay 1,000 gold for 2 health. Not everyone, but there'll be people out there. And it depends. It's just as your goals and the things you care to spend money on refines, you start doing more ridiculous stuff. How many titles did I get on my main back in the day in Guild Wars? Whatever the number was for God Walking Amongst Mere Mortals, +2. And the reason for the +2... Oh, actually, max. I had loads of titles, but max tracks, it was that. The reason it was +2 was because I didn't get Eldoa until later, and I didn't get the faction grind one till later. Instead of doing the faction grind, I actually did Treasure Hunter instead, which is ridiculous. Treasure Hunter is a fucking tough one in Guild Wars 1. And I did that because I was hoping that because Treasure Hunter had a special monument in the Hall of Monuments, I was hoping I was going to have a special equivalent reward specifically for Treasure Hunter in Guild Wars 2. I was hoping they were going to do it monument by monument. But in the end, when they announced how it all worked, it meant nothing in the end. In fact, it was super casual. And you only needed 30 points for the majority of stuff, and I was pretty disappointed, to be honest, and I'd wasted many hours. I'm a big fan of the post-hardcore band Alexis on Fire. I've talked about it a few times in the past. And when I think of some of their early albums, like their debut album, Little Girls Pointing and Laughing, those kinds of tracks, I always think of being in the far Shiver Peaks, Eye of the North, outside Boreal Station, farming treasure chests, because I spent weeks mindlessly running backwards and forwards doing that, listening to that album. Look at how beautiful this is before the dialogue. Look at this. It's a lift. Look at this. I love little details like this. And you'll see up in the lift, so many players won't have paid enough attention to this. It's a hamster wheel with a Rottweiler in it. Look at that. And the idea is it runs along. Amazing. I think it will be actually highlighted by a camera angle in the cutscene. But so here, check this out. It is my duty to guard the entrance of Arborstone. If you have approval from the Council of Nobles, I can arrange transport for you. Okay. Menlo! We all thought you were dead after, you know... Well, never mind that. I'm sure that Count Zuhelter will be glad to see you. So what is this? I'm so curious about it, man. They all owe him, but they thought he was dead? It's so weird. It's cool. What a mystery. You all must be the other ones Redemptor Carl told me would be arriving. Let me know when your party's ready to travel. These lifts can be a little jumpy. Watch your step where you wish to go. This reminds me of, like, the kind of cliffside elevators you get going up and down cliffs on all, like, little seaside towns across the south of England. Alright, I'm ready. And you'd be so excited to go on as a kid. Alright, this could be Danica's voice acting. Here we go, guys. Get ready. Oh, and the best music.
I'll do the talking here. You may rise.
It has been a long time since we last met, Brother Menlo.
Indeed, Count Zuhelter. I'm glad to find you in good health.
I am similarly pleased. But enough with the pleasantries. You have come here with a purpose, have you not?
As always, Count, you are well informed and to the point. We have come for the urn of Saint Victor.
This is not a small thing that you ask, Brother Menlo. The final resting place of our greatest hero. The man who single-handedly slew Shiro, the betrayer. Why do you ask this of us?
Single-handedly, my foot.
Because, Count, Shiro Takachi has returned.
If what you say is true, then it was indeed very wise for you to come to us.
Then you will give us what we seek?
We wish to help you, but I'm afraid it's not as easy as just handing over the urn.
What is it you require of us?
We require nothing, but St. Victor's remains are ensconced inside Cathedral Zuhelzer.
All right, then. We shall go to Cathedral Zuhelzer.
Brother Menlo, many things have changed since you were last here. The cathedral's magical protections have failed. It's been overrun by all manner of terrible beasts. To go there will mean great peril.
I see.
If you still wish to pursue the urn, speak with my daughter, Countess Danica. She can open the doors within the cathedral and help you recover what you seek.
Thank you, Count.
Speak to us.
Thank you, Count.
Godspeed to you.
Damn it, Danica. What a tease. Do you guys like how she has hot, like, deep red, cherry red lipstick, but only on her bottom lip? And the top one is grey. Oh my god, that's amazing. Beautiful. Okay. Chat was really cool there. Just by the way. Oh, the music. Oh, the music's so good. Listen, I just scrolled up during that cutscene. I'm glad that even now in 2018, people remember what a dick Treasure Hunter was. I'm really, really, really happy that there's still some... I'm able to get a bit of kudos for that, because Christ almighty, yes, it was evils. I think someone said in chat that they got both faction reps instead. And they are very grindy all on their own. To get the titles for Kurzik and Luxon are all on their own a huge challenge, and you could probably get both instead of Treasure Hunter. Certainly. I do wonder about that, though, because my memory of it's really bad, but I wonder if nowadays I've been boiled as a frog to the point that I'd actually be alright with it. I wonder if I did anything crazier in Guild Wars 2, for example. Is this Delgamore architecture? Haha, very funny. You would love a remake of Eternal Colosseum with the Urn and the Spear? Yeah, I think that was a huge misstep and disappointment from the devs to not realize how perfect the Urn and Spear would be. I bet their hearts sank the second the community got their hands on that map and they realized they had just not known the product well enough and could have done a cool thing. Because it's too perfect, you know. It's too perfect and they missed out. Silly. As for Menlo dying being the searing, I think that's a reasonable speculation, but it is just a speculation. And if it was just the searing, it's one of these things. If it is just the searing, then... Like, I'm not just looking at the game. You've got to look outside the game slightly. If it was just the searing, why would the devs chalk it up as a mystery? Oh, after what happened? They've not been scared drawing direct attention to prophecy stuff until now. It's not for the sake of the factions-only accounts who might not know, surely. If that was the case, why is it not consistent across the entire product, yeah? You've got to step outside of the game a little bit. I did, on this topic, I did an episode of the LP this week where I pointed out that the vacuum magic sucker from Professor Gore's storyline and the Order of Whispers randomly appears in the Dermond Priory storyline. And the Dermond Priory acts as though you know what the vacuum magic sucker is. And I said, well, this is obviously a mess up from the devs. This is obviously not good. Obviously, Gore was going to be a Priory thing until at the last moment they swapped it to Whispers. Maybe in the sense of trying to make it feel like the Whispers had a more balanced, important things to do, you know. And it's obvious that's what happened. It's obvious it's bad. And I talked about it. It's just a bit of trivia and moved on. I had several people in the comments say... no, it's just that Professor Gore likely would have given it to the Priory and it's fine. It's like, it's not that, that's not the point. Obviously, we can rationalize how Gore might have given his technology to the Priory. I'm not saying it's impossible that Gore's technology was the Priory. It's not about the in-universe rationalizations. It's the fact that this is a video game and that's awkwardly, jankily done and could have and should have been written better. You know, like, it always baffles me when people miss, like, those just basic impulses of why we're discussing what we're discussing, right? Like, come on, it's not about can we conceivably find a way to make an excuse. It was clearly a cut and shuffled mission and they didn't do due diligence on it after it moved around. Anyway, another thing, yeah, someone just said that the riding the lift is a bit like the shoe puff thing, and every game needs it. Hell yeah, I agree with that. Every good RPG needs a moment where you get on some kind of vehicle or something, you know, some interesting mechanism for traveling. Don't just go to airships and establish stereotypes. Do something weird and kooky and strange. And every good RPG needs... What is it, chat? A cave, obviously. We need a big cave moment. Always. Always you got to go underground and come out the other side. Always. These are the boilerplates we must adhere to. Menlo should have been in the Master Togo's bonus mission pack. But at that point in the timeline, I think he was back at home, wasn't he? It seems clear it was a goof, but I like the headcanon the Priory finds a way to steal tech from Whispers. To steal it? Why would they steal it, though? I think that they're more honorable than thieving it. It would be interesting to do that the other way around. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Gore would have collaborated and that information would have gone through it. That rationalizing it is not the problem. Anyway. I'm glad you've made it here safely. The zoo helpers are waiting once you're ready. Okay. Will you teach me a little bit about what's going on? This is a wonderful sight. Seeing you here with such exuberance, such spirit will be necessary, since the task ahead will not be easy. Acquiring the sacred urn of St. Victor is your goal, no matter the costs. Go forth, and may Dwayna watch over you. What do you need help with? Okay, what's the current situation? Saving Visu and releasing the other spirits was an enormous boost to your cause. The Emperor's meeting with the Kurziks regarding their present war with the Luxons, but he suggested you find Danica so that she might help you obtain the Urn of St. Victor. This is clearly not written without any understanding of what character is delivering it. What is happening at the House of Zuheltzer? Count Petrov Zuheltzer has been informed of Shiro's return to Cantha. Menlo brought you here to obtain the Urn of St. Victor, but it is being held in the Cathedral Zuheltzer, which was overrun by wardens when the magical protections failed. Danica offers her services to assist you in obtaining the urn that you might use it to defeat Shiro. Okay, what do you have for tips? We won't. The Age Sanctuary is unstable. Beware of collapsing structures. Rush to the safety should you find yourself getting pelted with debris and rubble. So, yeah, the Wardens. We're going to hear about them. I mean, I almost hate that we've got the Wardens to talk about now because I'm feeling like there's so much to talk about here. For centuries, the Zuheltzers have expanded and remodeled their house cathedrals, adding new wings and levels on a yearly basis. Recently, the Council of Nobles determined that this cathedral and the area around it should have an official name, since it had grown to the size of a large town. Count Zuheltzer predictably suggested the area be called Cathedral Zuheltzer, but the other house nobles wouldn't hear of it, and Arborstone won the final votes. This is Arborstone. So, yeah, let's head on in. Some of the creatures we're going to be fighting here are known as Wardens, and I'll just be very brief and blunt about this. My headcanon, and there's no lore discrepancies here to allow for this, is basically they seem to be, when this was a happy, thriving forest, there was essentially a pale tree. A complete, possibly with its own avatar. An entity known as Urgos. But 200 years ago, an explosion petrified the forest and turned it all to stone. And the creatures, the Sylvari of the Echoval forest, if you will, got kind of pissed off about that fact. And kind of corrupted as well at the same time. And they are mad at humans. And I personally would be mad at them too. If everything was lost, the entire place was destroyed. So now these Sylvari, if you will, linger in the forest, trying to regrow it, tend to its regrowth, build it back up to where it was, and they do not give a fuck about humans, and they attack humans on sight. What do they call themselves? The Wardens. Much like how Sylvari protecting the Grove and another big tree call themselves Wardens. But these guys are particularly messed up. There are little bits of detail you can get from the lore book and the manuals that came with this. We'll get glimpses of them. But I mean, really, it's such a beautiful idea. If we get Guild Wars 2 Cantha, they're going to outright confirm what I just said, or confirm that what I just said is wrong and give us a really cool story in comparison as to why it's wrong. Someone just popped a friggin' essence. That's hilarious. Either way, I'm super excited by it. I'm not 100% confident they will confirm the theory I just established to you all there. I'm not 100% confirmed, but I am 100% confident there will be something in said expansion that draws comparison between the two. It's just too much to not do it. The Malik storyline in Guild Wars 2, Malik isn't really what's so important about that storyline. It's just the establishment that there can be more pale trees. And you know, it unravels into this really awesome thing that really could be at the heart of any Canthan expansion in the sequel. Because just think about this, guys. There's all those vague notions and ideas that the pale trees are there in defense of the Elder Dragons, and they're like Tyria's immune system responding in ways, right? And those weird hints and suggestions there that they are of Tyria itself, and it's not just all about Morgemoth and ties to Morgemoth. I just want you to think, right? 5 against 6. Let's remember. 5 ancient races against 6 Elder Dragons. Where was the 6th way back when? Where was it? Why didn't the Forgotten and the Massart and the Seers have that extra ally as we contextualize it? I mean, they obviously would have had others, but, you know. Where were they? Where were the Sylvari last rising? That's just a very simple question at the head of this article. Where were the Sylvari last rising? Is it really just because of Ventari and a tablet and Ronan and a thing? You know, let's learn more about the cave. Let's learn more about the seeds. Where were they? What if they were around, just really far down south? Because let me ask you this. What evidence have we had that the Forgotten were this far down south last rising? What evidence do we have that the Massart were this far south? The Dwarves, the Jotun, any of them? Any? The answer is we have no evidence. So maybe they just didn't know that down here there were Sylvari and Wardens and Ergos doing their stuff. It's very exciting, isn't it? It's very, very, very cool. And, I mean, there's a slight hint that maybe dwarves based on the Eye of the North intro quest, and, you know, we can dig a bit deeper. You can look at Jotun being close to ogres and the Yetis of the mountains and stuff. But, you know, there's a beautiful idea there of, like, Last Rising. There's a whole side of Last Rising's history that we might figure out more about down here. And it could be tied into these very creatures you see me fighting right now. So here, this door opening, this is the bit Danica used to get animation locked, healing minions. Forever, and she wouldn't go to the door, but we got it.
Now remember, this place is...
Sorry, I'm doing a Mickey Mouse there.
Now remember, this place is sacrosanct to my family. It has been heavily guarded, and not even I know every ward of protection that's been put into place. But don't worry, our defenses would never harm Azusa Helsa. As long as you're with me, you'll be safe.
So that's what she says. We get some dialogue as well, possibly about the Wardens.
Danica says, my uncle led an expedition to clear the cathedral. One man escaped and lived just long enough to tell the table. He spoke of wardens and of creatures far more foul. We sealed these doors to protect House Uhelzer and have not reopened them until now. Be prepared for anything. I suspect my uncle left some sort of protective ward around the sacred urn. Oh, we have company.
Brother Menno says, we should not touch the urn until we've cleared the area of enemies. One hazard at a time is best. So there you go. And we got the groups in here to clear out. The urn being there, by the way. I'll show you the animation. It's quite pretty as it's bound. Seems pretty safe. The protective magics. Hopefully we can break down soon. Yeah, in this mission there is a time limit or something, I think. But yeah, there you go. That's my understanding and you know, kind of the baseline discussion about the Wardens and what's so exciting about them. It's not exciting just because yay more Sylvari content. It's not exciting just because one of the 5 playable races would have a stake in learning from them and understanding them. But it's exciting because it's a key to the past. And opportunities for the game to deal more with that again. There's a lot special about Cantha, the empire of the dragon, the relation to dragons and the people that live here. And oh, we got Rampage's insight here. And obviously the salt sprays in Kunabag, which you haven't seen yet, and I won't talk about just yet because of the spoilers. But, you know, you're going to find that over and over and over again with Cantha. That is why this is a rich place to go to. Look at the last 2 expansions. Neither of them have anywhere near as cause to be excited in terms of the Elder Dragon story as locales, the Maguma Jungle, the Crystal Desert, and so on, as this. She gonna speak now?
Look out!
Oh no, we need to be with you, Danica. She's telling us.
Countess, are you all right?
Listen, be damned! I didn't see that one coming. I'm all right.
Brother Menlo? Brother Menlo?
I'm unhurt, but I'm trapped on this side. It's up to you to get the Countess and the urn out safely. I'll go around and meet you in front of the cathedral.
May Duena carry you safely to your destination.
May
All right.
Balthazar give you the might to make it through. Go now.
Talking about Balthazar and Duena there, you know, baked into Menlo's duality and his personality is kind of cool. All right, look, she wasn't that bad there. Okay, well, there will be more. Believe me, there will be more.
I don't understand. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not while someone from House Helder was here. It must be an omen. The cathedral had sealed itself and its guardians have been awakened. They have been enchanted to attack intruders, and they won't rest until we're dead as their bodies disembodied here. I don't know how to turn them off. Our only hope is to make our way through the main entrance so that I can perform the necessary spell and open the gate. Duena, protect us. Balthazar, give us strength. We're gonna need it.
There you go. Thank you, Danica. Riveting. Let's get going. Is that an Asuran accent, is it? I gotta start salvaging, man. Yeah, the gargoyles could potentially have more explanation stuff. No, I don't really think of the gargoyles as too ridiculously campant, to be honest. But I get why you're saying that. Granite slabs is a new material, so I put it at the top. We still got these stupid... I'm gonna delete the mirrors. Or throw them away. We can reclaim them later. Goodbye, Elonian mirrors. Oh, what else we got? Defender. Don't care. I don't remember how Guild Wars 1 works. If it only gets the mods after IDing, or if the mods are already there pre-IDing. Salvage down these copper shillings, which gives us iron ingots. Don't worry, it makes sense, guys. The butterfly knives, Jade Brotherhood garb, silver bullion coins, also giving us iron. Seems like there's a lot of counterfeiting of money here. Putrid cyst giving us bones. Salvaging celestial essence from the pre-quarter giving us dust. Crenellated sword. I guess I'll just drop, right? Anyone can pick these up. The channeling staff we can't salvage because it's green, and I wouldn't want to anyway. What's this giving us? Energy plus 10. It's better than the cockatrice staff, so I'll run that. Plague-born armor. Oh, we got a lump of charcoal. An unidentified weapon inscription. I don't remember those were the thing. Wow, okay. And then we'll dye our mask purple and our chest orange. There you go, just to use those up. We only got 2 Imperial commendations from the city in the end, which they look interesting on the floor, which is not going to be enough for anything, so I'll just throw those. I'll keep those because they're likely to come back into our inventory anyway when we go back to the city. Spoilers, we're not done with it yet. Okay, so let's keep going. Yeah, I was standing there while the roof's collapsing. Look, they got this. They're fine. Look at this army we've got. It's kind of nuts, actually. Yeah, someone else said something else cool about Cantha. Yeah, Costage had a very interesting proposal, which we'll talk about more when we get to it. But you're going to find that some of the dragons that live here, they're not elder dragons, but they are dragons. They're actually quite intelligent. Someone just got a gold drop. Good job to you. That's a rare rune there now. If they get a good roll on that, they might be really happy. They're actually smart. They're intelligent. They're, you know, many of them have been driven wild and crazy because of the Jade Wind. Thanks, Shiro. But there's a lot to be excited about in terms of Guild Wars 2 interacting with some that aren't mad and have lived for ages and might be able to talk about elder dragons. There's just a lot of potential for big answers if the devs play their cards right. And I have to assume they will. I mean, they must play through this, right? It doesn't matter whether you are an original Factions dev or not. All you've got to do is play the game. I think that's just such a small thing to ask for, you know? Play the original and see what captures you about it and go from there. They should have like big company days where they do what we're doing. They just get a bunch of the devs to go and play through the original. You need to do that to have that unity. You know, one thing I think I mentioned on the stream, but I keep thinking about, you know, in terms of like when people discuss balance and they clearly don't know what they're talking about, or, you know, everyone has a different priority with Guild Wars 2. In terms of what it should have and why it should have it and when it should have it, and it's because everyone gets such different experiences from the product. You really have to play it and understand it a lot to come to anything smart, or otherwise you just lose a lot of cohesion and unity. And I have a feeling a lot of those devs probably don't even play Guild Wars 2 because, I don't know, like, I guess I'm flirting with the whole Corteria thing again, but there's going to be reasons they don't play it, so they should just all have like community, company-wide meetups where they play together, you know, to keep that unity amongst themselves and have a clear vision as to what it really is they need. And do it for Guild Wars 1 as well, you know. How cool would that be? In fact, didn't they describe that maybe with Nightfall? Didn't they describe all playing through Nightfall together? Before POF, I mean. You want ArenaNet, the company, to pay people to play an old game. Yeah, their product. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's part and parcel of being a good dev. I think. Yeah, absolutely. It's not just playing a game, is it? It's in the service of being a better dev. Knowing what worked, exactly where you came from, why it worked, how it worked, what didn't work. Not making the same mistakes that have been made in the past. All of those things, surely they're important. I think it's a bit unfair to just say, oh, it's playing a game. You wouldn't criticize a film director for watching movies of a similar genre when he, you know, on your latest projects, would you? You don't think ArenaNet as a company would pay for it? Yeah, I mean, I don't claim to know, honestly. I haven't got the foggiest clue. Armor of Unfeeling is really freaky to me because it doesn't actually appear as a buff for me. It's obviously a very, very, very difficult thing to know exactly how much time should be spent on this preparation for development versus the development itself. I keep getting interrupted every time I try and create the boon. Probably should have... I mean, energy is just such a problem in this build. This is way worse than the other one we were running. Can't remember what I was going to say either. Brought a signature capture for some other stuff. But we're already done with the mission. It's so good, guys. Honestly, such speed. I'm getting major carried by the team here. How do we know they don't do that? Oh, they might. Oh, yeah. I don't know that they don't do that. They might. Oh, good point. Hell if I know. I haven't shown off the urn once yet. Yeah, someone else has carried it. Where's Danica? Oh, God. She's probably caught a million miles away doing something. As long as she's not dying. She's a little bit low. Okay, we got to run back, I guess, and find her. There goes the master bonus. Oh, really? Do you think we're going to miss the bonus? We've got master every time, though. What we need is pressure cooker healing on this. That's what we really need. Look at click to move master race here. Ready? Oh, yeah. Completely hands-free gameplay. I'll run a resto build. If we don't get master, I'm happy to replay this and run a resto build that regens everyone and splashes stuff up. WP, will you play Life is Strange 2 when it comes out? Isn't it already? I don't know. I'm not sure how much time I've got to do that stuff at the moment. The games, I'm playing enough games at the moment. I'm playing a bit of Ark, I'm playing a bit of Monster Hunter, I'm playing some stuff on the PS4, I'm playing another game, and then also Divinity Original Sin 2 Remastered or Enhanced Edition, the definitive edition, is coming out at the end of the month, and I might be making space for that in my downtime. So yeah, I've got a lot that I'm playing. And already with that many different products, I'm not really doing the best job with them all. WP, do you want the urn? No, it's okay. We've got plenty of time. It's an urn that reduces our... I can't even remember what it does. It might reduce the environmental damage and stuff. Oh, this is bad. The Gate Guardians have been awakened too. Dwayne, show us your mercy and protection. Listen, you have to keep the Guardians busy while I perform the magic to open the gate. If I'm interrupted, the spell won't work. Okay, yeah, we just ran on ahead the whole time. Which is kind of weird, because I stopped to deal with my inventory ages ago. Oh, there's the urn. I'll grab it. It does a blue ping, which is kind of cool. So it's funny that she never came, because I gave her ample opportunity to latch to me. WP is clearly in the alpha for ArenaNet's new mobile game. Trust me, I'm not in anything remotely like that at all. It's just stuff that hopefully one day will become things and, you know, might not. Everyone got upset about allied NPCs dying, then they made Cormier who did nothing. I wonder about the Cormier thing, I really do. Whether it's grown to something it wasn't at this point. Does that make sense? Like especially after they changed incoming, she used a skill, an elite skill called incoming, which eventually increases your movement speed and heals you as you run around. Incoming would be awesome in this instance, for example. It's basically the best skill an NPC like her could have. She doesn't really do much damage, but she's like awesome quality of life. And I don't know. I feel like she's the best that she could have been, given their philosophies for it in the end. And I wonder whether it's just more of a joke now that most people talking about weren't even, you know, that ingrained in the community, or, you know, whined about it. It's just known now. It's like a fact that that's the way things were, so now that's how things were, even though it probably wasn't as bad as people think it was. Like, I reckon there was way more complaining and memeing about Rurik dying constantly than there was ever about Cormier not being useful. I think there was definitely a lot of story side whining because people were like, I wanted to become a god, because at the end of the day, I could just see that, right? But in terms of her being not good in combat, I don't know. Yeah, we missed the reward, I think. RIP.
The wards failed, the gate collapsed, and for a while there, I wasn't sure my spell would work. I think, my friends, it's time to leave this place.
Agreed. Lead the way.
Right. Follow me.
Is it really sad I really do like her lips? Is that cheesy and cliche?
One down, one to go.
Indeed. Come, Master Toggle will want to hear that we've recovered the urn. Thank you, Countess.
May the gods watch over you in your pursuits.
Yeah, the Star Trek shake, yeah. I love watching behind the scenes of that when it's just the actors without the room actually shaking or the camera shaking. You know, she's not so bad. Honestly, she's not so bad. Not as bad as I remember. Maybe there's stuff later. The thing... Oh, we did get Masters. Awesome. The thing with Danica is... That's not the voice you expect of these regal, calm, deliberative, contemplative, you know, masters of the ancient, echoey, vast forest. You expect her to be very calm and measured and soft-spoken. Not, oh my god, I'm Danica, hi! You know, like, it's just a mismatch. But hey. There you have it. You can do a better female voice than she can. Jesus Christ. Can you, Sean? Can you? I don't know. I'm going to need evidence of this. She sounds like a Valley girl. No, that's not Valley girl, is it? She sounds East Coast, not West. Right? Listen, I live in the UK. I may well be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's an essence of it, a little bit. The vast ruins of the Old Troom are thought by the most historians to be all that remains of the first great Kurzik city, destroyed by some ancient and mysterious catastrophe. Look at this. ArenaNet. 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 Make this an Elder Dragon. Yeah, you know you want to. Oh. Oh. Amazing. The Kurziks themselves claim that ancestors did not build the structures found here. If this is true, then Al Troom certainly influenced Kurzik architectural sensibilities. Listen to that. The Kurziks themselves claim the Kurzik ancestors did not build these structures. Think of that. Primitive humans, who, by the way, did not come from Ur, came from the south, migrated up in those early days, found this forest, it was not made of stone, and found these great cathedrals and walls and buildings, and were like, wow, that's cool. Hey, we're primitives, let's copy it. And over the years, this happened. So who created this stuff, guys? The Sylvari, the Wardens, in the last Elder Dragon Rising. Seriously, come on, man. It's great. It's perfect. Danica was Izzy in Digimon, was it really? Oh, Signet of Spirits is coming up. Ooh, Signet of Spirits, everyone. Oh. Headmaster Amma. Master Togo hoped my skill. I should do it like Danica, right? Master Togo hoped my skills would prove helpful against the plague, but so far, I'm afraid I've been of little help. This plague frustrates me at every turn, and my prayers to Dwayna seem to fall on deaf ears. I fear this affliction will soon reach my people, the Kurziks, and I'll be unable to stop it. Menlo has, gone ahead to meet Master Togo. You should rendezvous with them as soon as possible. Okay, I'll find them. Please never open your mouth again. Ever. Okay. Cool. I want a different build, man. This was not the best of builds. Let's check the skills available for sale here. Binding chains, soothing. I think it's the same. I mean, his restoration. When it dies, everyone gets res. Blech. Displacement. Maybe we can run displacement. You did the Kurzik Lux and grind once, never again. That is definitely one of those things where people who are nostalgic about Guild Wars 1, I cannot imagine actually coming back and doing again. Maybe some of them have, but Jesus. I'm going to get rid of this weapon and put the Signet on since we didn't cast that weapon once. It just didn't feel rewarding. Oh, we've got 2 of them now, but don't worry about that because we can continue capping more. It just didn't feel rewarding enough. Lumpy Space Princess, yeah. That actually was not intentional that time. Oh my god! I'm loving. No, I'm not going to do a Lumpy Space Princess. Yeah, collectors, by the way, in factions do have lore, and I've not really been delivering it. The Horn of the Wardens are used in different ways. Adolescent ones can be used to enchant wands and staves, as they are full of energy and vigor. Adult horns are effective in reinforcing armor and shields. The oldest are nigh impossible to work with due to their stone-like hardness, and are used in magical brushes and instruments prized by the more artistic Kurzik houses. In exchange for 5 of them, I will give you blah blah blah. I know you do get great exposition and stuff from those collectors. Even if the gameplay feature we're not encouraged to utilize too much. But yeah, we're going to meet with Togo now, back up towards the city. We've had a very brief look at the Echo Vald. Now, my friends, we are going to be going to the Jade Sea for a brief look at things going on over there. We might be able to exit the Ultram Ruins and do some skill capturing. This is also a challenge mission, by the way. I think, anyway. Yeah, it is. It's a challenge mission. So we might want to go and do that challenge mission tomorrow. That might be very cool, right? But yeah, the Convocation is coming up. That's what I watched a speed run of quite recently. Yeah, that's about it, though. We've been streaming for 2 hours. I want to go see if the LP render is done because I'm trying a new technique. Ooh, and that could speed things up a little bit for me. And yeah, I'm afraid that I know some of you might be expecting the 2.5 hours coming up on 3-hour ones, but I'll be strict with the time budget today. It's been cool to see you all. I hope you all had fun. We'll figure out a really cool build tomorrow. Yeah, if you want to join, I'll be streaming same time, 24 hours from now. And this has been a really fun stream, guys. Really chill, really nice. There's a link to Discord there. You can click to chat about the game, chat to me. I usually hang around in one of the channels called Latest Video Discussion. I love it when people post there. On that like a hawk lately. And yeah, I announce when my streams go live in general over there. In fact, today I did nothing to announce the stream, but hey. Check out the Guild Hall. Oh yeah, I'll finish off the stream here. We'll just have a quick look. This is the Spud Guild Wars 1 Hall. Isle of Meditation. Themed after Xingje. Look at this. Beauty. Very cool. They bought this with a Celestial Sigil. Got lots of henchies here. One of them has an interesting mystery. Very, very, very pretty. Obviously, this is with the new graphics updates and whatnot. We'll put some other cool Umod stuff on next time as well, by the way. We'll run another UI mod. I always like this hall. I got a lot of weird personal memories of hanging out with specific people I haven't spoken to in years and years and years now. At this hall. Is this the one with the boat, or is that the Wizard's Isle? I remember speaking for hours and hours to an old friend just on that boat, just chilling out. Crazy stuff. Well, there you go, guys. Thanks very much for watching. See you tomorrow.